Hello, and welcome back to another Snapshot review. And this Snapshot review is for 1.20.3, but it's got the experimental features for 1.21. And so we're gonna start on the 1.20.3 stuff, and then we'll move on to 1.21. The first the first change for 1.20.3 is the hide splash text. So basically you can change the yellow splash text that has a different thing on the home screen. You can change it to not be there. So having it on means that it's going to hide the text. If you really want it hidden, you can, but I don't know how many old players are actually going to use that. Fireworks actually got a pretty decent buff. So I have myself a crossbow here with fireworks, and they actually got a decent buff. So I'm going to go into the end to show this off. Alrighty, so to show this off, there's a few things that rockets can actually break, and like projectiles specifically, just overall, and one of those is decorated pots. So if I shoot this into the pots, you'll see that it shoots through actually quite a few of them. So it actually breaks the pots quite well. And speaking of the pot, it is also in the tab in here. It's right there. It's in the redstone tab because hoppers interact with it. The rockets can also break off the coarse tip flower things that don't grow anymore, and it'll drop the coarse flower, but it will not do anything to just the regular stem of the coarse plant. And this works the same with exploding rockets, as if the rockets explode on the flower, just like that. Alright, there's also a loading screen for corrupted level files. That's just helpful for like backup worlds that have been destroyed, and that's really everything for 1.20.3. So let's jump into a reaction and kind of my thoughts on what was shown in Minecraft Live. Alrighty, here's Minecraft Live, and this is just the Minecraft stuff that they talked about. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing that I'm seeing is I'm seeing these blocks here, these like seemingly tough blocks. I think they also say that in later in this clip, and I kind of like this bottom texture here. I can't quite see it very well, but I do like this bottom texture, and also the side texture too, of course. These bricks look really nice, and then there seems to be some sort of like copper lamp here as well. I just think that they're all really cool looking. Here, there's that under texture, looks actually pretty cool. Anyways, okay, so I'm seeing a few things. I'm seeing that light again, or at least what I would think is a light, and then there's like this like copper mesh kind of stuff as well, so it looks like copper is another main theme of this trial chamber, as it's called. And right here there's also another block, and it looks like a copper door as well. This block actually looks pretty cool with its texture. I honestly, I just want to be able to start using more tough variants, because you get so much tough when mining in that deep slate layer that it doesn't look great to me, but some people really like it. I'm not a huge fan. But this other copper block right next to the door looks really cool to me, so that I can't wait for. Also, another thing with these trial chambers is that there's like a whole bunch of rooms, like that corridor, and there's a whole bunch of other rooms as well, so it hopefully will be a pretty expansive structure throughout basically this Minecraft world that you'll be able to find. Alright, and so here they're talking about the copper bulb, which I think is also, again, just really cool. They'll talk about it a little bit later on, especially with how it can be like scraped off with the axe and like unoxidized and that kind of thing, and waxed and kind of that thing. Alright, so here is a new spawner, and basically the way that they explained it in Minecraft Live is it'll start summoning mobs when you're near it, and it'll spawn more mobs the more players there are near it, and it'll spawn just a specific amount, and it'll recharge, and then it'll spawn a specific amount. So it's probably not something that one would want to break, but you never know. So it spawns a certain amount of mobs. Once those mobs are defeated, then you get a reward, and that's pretty much the basis of it. And here they are talking about the crafter, which we will actually get into a little bit more in depth a little bit later, because that is in our current snapshot, so we'll get to that a little bit later. And then the final part of the little place here, the new structure, is this little guy here, the Breeze. And he uses air attacks, which won't harm the player unless you're directly hit, but they will knock you back. And they also talk about how it can actually affect redstone stuff like trapdoors and levers and buttons and that kind of thing. It also likes to hop around, making it annoying to kill, it seems. So that'll be interesting to actually play with when it comes out. So that, I think, will be fun. And here, you see it attacked, and they got trapped down there. And here in just a second, it flicks that lever with its attack. So lots of cool things there. Alright, so that was basically everything in Minecraft Live. We also know that the armadillo won the mob vote. I think it'll be alright having the armadillo. I think everyone voted it in just because of the dog armor, but at the same time, how many people really use dogs for combat? Like, if you do, that's great. I props to you, but like, so few people I think actually use wolves for fighting other mobs, so that I don't know. Anyways, crafter time. The crafter is actually quite an interesting block to automate crafting. Hello, dog. So here's what it looks like, and you can actually power it without anything in it, and it'll just change its appearance. You can see these two little red dots. It's also oriented in lots of ways, just like that, and basically everywhere you face, it has a different orientation. So it looks up, down, and basically everywhere. A texture that I'm actually kind of a fan of is this bottom texture. I think it would be really cool as like a floor texture, or like some like wall maybe, but that's not the point of the crafter. The point of the crafter is to automate crafting. So I'm just going to grab myself a couple diamonds and a stick so that I could make a diamond sword. Now I could just input it myself, but what's the point in doing that when I could just grab a hopper and input it from the top? Now, you will have seen that I blanked out these slots here, and that's so that the items wouldn't go like this, because that's not how you make a sword. You make a sword like that. So it's basically, it goes from left to right and down, continuing that in the biggest stack. So if I wanted to make a diamond block, and I'll actually power this too so that you can watch it craft it. Its little mouth opened and it spat out the sword, and you'll see that it doesn't have the items in here. Now I'm going to grab a bunch of stacks of diamonds. I'll put a few in here, and you'll see that it starts to fill up, and it's filling up each slot first. So if I add some there, you'll see that it kind of skipped it, and if I take off some diamonds from there, you'll see that it keeps building up, and I can just keep adding to different spots, and you'll just kind of see that it avoids those spots that had extra and keep going, so it's priority. And you'll see this one had 15, now it's counting up with the rest. So basically it'll fill up other stacks first before filling up a stack of 40. So it'll just fill up the rest, and then once the rest catch up to the first, then, well, then it'll be all moving as one. Alright, so I've set up here a simple contraption just to kind of show how the crafter will work. So it'll fill up each slot depending on what you're making. Right here I'm just making a bunch of chest plates, and you'll see that as soon as this slot here is filled, it crafts, and it feeds directly into chests. It could feed into, I believe, furnaces too, if you wanted it to feed into a furnace. Also, that's a weird noise. So I think that noise is that it's being powered, but not producing an output. You'll also see that this little square thing here goes up and then back down, kind of to signify the mouth opening, which is actually kind of cool. I'm going to take out the diamonds real fast, and you'll see that it stopped at the 2, and if I were to add more, you'll see that it just continues as it was. I believe this can feed into a furnace, so if I was making like kelp blocks, if I was making kelp blocks, it'll actually put the kelp into the furnace, and of course, since the crafter itself has a GUI that you can interact with, it can dispense the item straight into here if you really want it to, for like complex things like a dispenser, if you wanted to make a dispenser. So that's basically how the crafter works. It's actually quite interesting. Oh, you know, I forgot one of the more important pieces of the crafter, and that's actually how to craft the crafter. So you craft the crafter just like this. So you'll have crafting table, of course, because it's a crafting table basically. In the middle you'll have a dispenser, or not a dispenser, dropper, because it drops the item. 2 redstone dust on either side of the dropper, and then 5 iron ingots capping it all off, and then you get the crafter. And that is basically everything. I am not a redstone genius, so if you were looking to learn about different redstone machines that you could do with this, look to someone else, because I am not a huge redstone person. I don't really know how redstone works. But hopefully this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye!